Episode 14.
That's right. Episode 14. Very exciting this week,
Yes.
Francisco. We've got Debra Digiovanni's going to pop in.
A great comic. She's originally from Canada. And, well, I seen her perform. I met her just performing here in LA, and she's amazing. She's so funny. She's like one of the comics that I enjoy watching as a when they're performing, and she's so funny, very talented, been doing comedy for a while in Canada and now in LA, and we had a great interview with her, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic fun. As me too, being Canadian. So the way I know her is from that vague Canadian connection. We've got a lot of mutual friends, and we Canadians, we all cross like ships in the night. We all get to know each other at Canadian specific shows in LA. Like, so when they do Canada Day at the Comedy Store, I'll be down there with Debra. We'll be down there celebrating on behalf of Canada and stuff like that. So that's how we get to know each other. But yes, she is a killer on stage. She brings with her that energy. And you can feel that energy that just comes off her in the room before she's even gone on stage as well. And then she goes on stage and how sometimes you feel off of comics, they have this great energy, and then when they go on stage, they have a different persona.
They're like that. Yeah, no, it's the same one.
And I think, she brings all that energy.
I feel good comics are like that. Like good comics, I feel like they're the same. Obviously you bring more energy when you're on stage, but you're kind of like the same off and on stage. And one thing that she does, which I like, is like which I don't like them, which when comedy do this, but for her, I think it works for her, is that she brings sometimes her like notepad, and she goes, but she uses so well, like it works, like it's like it's so like for her it works perfectly. Like with other comics, I go like, to me, I feel it's distracting.
Right. Yeah, for her it adds to the performance. You mean?
Yes.
Which is great. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Like, because sometimes if you're going to do the notes and stuff, sometimes it looks contrived.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you didn't have to do this. You're doing it as a safety net kind of thing.
And she already knows her bits. I think she just used it. It's like, that's why I said it's like it works for her thing, but she's not like looking and reading. She just goes like, well, But it was so much fun talking to her, because it's cool about doing this podcast that we learned so much about comics that we, like you said, we perform with them, but we don't talk to them on the shows as deep as we did. And we learned so much about like her childhood and like how she started doing comedy, the travels that she done. So it was very fun.
Yeah, I got to tell you, buddy, my favorite questions that we've been asking guests and stuff are, my favorite one that is starting to be the one about their whenever we ask about childhood travel and stuff, I'm really enjoying that, because you find out you find out a lot of these it's really a working class holiday, isn't it? A lot of them are like, it was in a car. We crammed the whole family in a car, and there we go. I'm really enjoying the answers that we're getting to those questions off the comic.
So can't wait for you guys to listen to this interview, and then JJ, I mean, do you want to share something with the public about your dating things?
No, I'm still going absolutely stir crazy, buddy. But yes, the dating, I am getting emails from the matchmaker dating company, because I've tried a couple now. Yes, exactly. You shake your head. You shake your head accurately, so my friend.
I'm like, just wait a couple more months until you can just go back to the normal dating.
Yeah, it's gotta be, because I mean, I would hope I hope the female population feels this way too, that it's just as much of a shit show. But you can't. I went on a speed dating thing, and they weren't they weren't the matches I was promised.
That's so weird. Like, it's like, so like you order, it's like going to a restaurant, you're like, hey, I want the steak, and they just bring you salmon. I'm like, no, but I want a steak. No, sorry, you're getting salmon.
Well, they were supposed to be women between the ages of 30 and 40, and they were. I don't think any of them were under 40, but I don't think any of them were under 50. So it was making me already feel like I
Wow.
like I was just spritzing. I just put on a show and then wait for the 5-minute speed date to be up. And then I'm like, all right, okay, next one. Oh, you're about 61 yourself. Okay, all right, here we go again.
Oh my god. So wow. So I
Yeah.
mean, well, the good thing is like if you start dating one of them, then you can get the vaccine earlier.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're right. Maybe my motivations need to be changed. I could be benefiting off of this. How is your loved up quarantine then? If you're not like me, you're not out there looking for love. You're all loved up.
Ah,
You got pets, you got love. I saw that you celebrated a 1 year anniversary. So
4 years. 4 years.
congratulations. Sorry, what I meant to say was I saw that you celebrated an anniversary and
Yeah.
it's your 4 year anniversary, man, which is congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
especially if you can make having made it through quarantine because
Yeah, I
that
think that's
is
a big thing. I mean, I think for any couple to go to get through, but I think I think it's lucky that we are already together or living together before this started because I feel bad for the people that actually like started dating or get moved in together and then this happened because that's a real like
yeah.
to be together the whole time where you gotta like where you just still getting to know each other and you gotta be like oh you left the you didn't make the bed again and I have it's like that passive aggressiveness. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were past that before the quarantine started.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's gotta be very hard. Yeah, all these loved up couples are learning what they hate about each other over the
Yeah,
course
a
of
lot,
that
a
period.
lot. I think
Yeah.
either like if you made it, either you know that that's person for you, or then that it's over. Pretty much. Like there's no in between.
Yeah.
Like the pandemic
Yeah.
is over, which is almost gonna be over. And but I think now it's time for us to get into the nice, fun interview that we had with Debra Digiovanni. And
Yeah. Can I just to your point though, I just want to say people who are going to start relationships now, you know you gotta be wary because you can't find yourself in a relationship and then go now what we need is the ultimate test. If only another quarantine period can arrive so that I can find out if this is true love or not.
well, hopefully you don't get to that point, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
you can just rent escape room and like rent it for a month and be like,
Right.
well, let's try to do like a intensive quarantine.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, if you're in a loved up relationship and you guys can't escape an escape room together, then maybe you need to assess your relationship.
yeah. I don't think it's even escaping the room. It's like not killing each other. I think that's
Right.
it. That's a big test.
That would be
Yeah.
great. You go to an escape room, it's just supposed to be a novel night out. And then in the end, the coordinator comes in and goes, what happened here? And it's just you standing bloody and go, God damn it. We couldn't figure out the puzzle on the wall over there. So I freaked out on her.
Yeah,
Yeah, bad
I
news.
don't. I'm not a big fan of escape room. I'm not good at it. But I do have to
No?
say also before, just to remind our listeners that to follow us at on all our social media, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on Twitch, and to follow us and also on our personal social media as well. What's
Yeah, man.
your on
I'm
JJ?
I'm JJ Whitesnake on Twitch and on general social media, double JW on YouTube. But generally, if you look up JJ Whitehead, you'll find me, and you'll often find me under JJ Whitesnake.
You
Uh,
mean White
yeah,
Snake? You
yeah,
can follow me on F Ramos Comedy on Instagram, on TikTok, which I've gotten a lot of followers on TikTok, and
nice.
and then on Twitter at Francisco Ramos, and then you can check what we have there coming up. Hopefully we can get some shows coming up soon,
Yeah,
so we
because
can.
you guys are gonna notice too that we had like a lot of people who are watching it live now, which is a lot of fun. So if that's an option for you as well, you may enjoy it. You can join the people in the chat while we're live talking to these great comics, and this is exciting. So shall we throw it right now to the ladies and gentlemen? Here you go. Here's our conversation with Debra Digiovanni. Right. Let's welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got ourselves a situation room. So allow me to introduce our guest for this week. As we said, we've got Debra Digiovanni.
Yes! Hello.
There she is.
Hello, everyone. I'm Debra Digiovanni.
Obviously so excited to be here. She just blew out her microphone with one with one scream. You have a terrified microphone in there going, oh my God.
It doesn't take long. Yes. Hello. How are you?
Hello. How you been? How you been, Debra?
I'm trying to watch on Twitch as well while I'm doing this.
Oh, nice. It's a little it's like a 5-second delay if you watch, just so you know.
Okay. Good to know.
Just so you know, but so if you want to go back in the past and change it, you know,
I do want to go. I want to go and not blow up my mic.
Well, Debra, thank you for joining us today. We're very excited for you to be here. We're big fans of you, obviously. We love your comedy. You're so funny. Every time I do a show with, like, if I do a show and Debra's in the show and I'm like, as comedy as comedians, we know we rarely, for me personally, I rarely see other sets. But if Debra's on the lineup, I'm gonna watch that set.
Oh, that's
it's just so like, it's so fun and you know, it's always so like you take it a place that I'm like, oh wow, I never thought about that.
Chaotic is the word. Yeah. Very, very good.
I've told you before as well, Debra, that you're my brother and his wife's favorite comedian.
They're clever people.
Yeah, he's very fun. He was trying to tell me the other day, because he was on the same team as you for some sort of comedy Olympics thing that was in Toronto many years ago.
Really?
I'm like, tell me more about this. He's like, yes,
I need to know more about this too.
Yeah, he's like, Debra was my team captain, and I was like, oh well, I know nothing of this.
We better have. I don't remember, but we better have won. That's all I care about. We better win. That's.
I do believe he said you guys mopped the floor with the other team.
Yes.
And that has iced your position as his mind.
Does your brother do the comedy?
Greatest. He does not. So I don't have. He must have just. He doesn't do comedy. He's in medicine and stuff. He's in the health professions. So it must have been So he must have been there for I don't know. I'll have to get him to fill me in even more.
Get more details after. Yeah.
But I do believe it was elements of comedy, but you were the only comedian there, and you took them under the wings and defeated the other team.
All right, go Debra.
What's funny is that, like, he's, like, is his brother, and you're not, like, JJ's not his favorite comic. You are.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been like, well, you and Debra, but he's like, no,
exactly.
Just Debra.
No. But JJ's top five, number 4. But still,
top 5. I'm lucky. I got
top 5
because the joy has spread to their children as well. So I've got a niece and nephew. I've got my brother and a sister-in-law and a niece and nephew. And when I come over, they were all like, "Did you bring Debra?" No, I guess you did. Yeah. So,
boom.
Are you at all as good as her yet?
Well, and we also got some fans right here. You're also my gun is huge says, you also he's also his wife's favorite and mine. So
there you go. So
you seem to be a couple, like a comic for the couples.
I think I'm a good date. Do you know what I mean? Coming to see me as a good date kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I promote love. I make people romantic, apparently. I get people in the mood. Who knew?
Hell yeah, you do. It must be all your photos of your boyfriends on Instagram.
That's it.
That you're always posting.
You do have a lot of boyfriends. It's amazing.
Listen to me. Listen, you know what? I have a ton of boyfriends. I've had 3 years of boyfriends weekly. But it's cute because a lot of people, is like, oh my God, I love this so much. It's my favorite thing. But then there are some people that are always like, where do you meet all these men? I'm like, wait a minute. Do you know what I mean? There are the people that they answer too sincerely. I'm like, I'm joking, right? Like, are you kidding me? And I've had, like, to date, I've had I want to say, is it 3? I think it's 4 of the men respond that I say.
Like the actual guys. Oh,
yes,
what do they say?
They're just catalog guys, right?
they're a lot of them are Instagram models. Some of them are just like cute dudes, that I find on Instagram. And honestly, there's a couple have been like they're actual models. And one was a Canadian, and I had no idea. And his wife follows me and found out. She's like, "You made it to Deborah's," and then he writes me, and he's excited. And then another guy was from like Finland, and he found me, and he was like, "Best press I've had in a while." And I was like, "Yeah." And then,
Wow.
it's usually the girlfriend or the sister or somebody of the man that comes and says, "Yeah." And so far, no one's bad. As of this moment, nobody's bad.
No, why?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah.
You know?
It's their big break. Could you imagine that? Their big break is actually for you to find the advertisement that they did.
So Deborah, when you get
you're bigger than their big break.
That's it.
so have you sneak other guys there like that are like actual boyfriends or people that you're going out with, like you throwing in there?
I actually I want to, but I get nervous. I get shy too. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so the real ones you don't want to share.
The real ones I don't want to share because I am seeing someone right now and I keep going. I want to sneak it in and put like Deborah's real boyfriend and see if anyone knows.
No, but just don't say anything because it'd be cool to see like if people like
just
actually like or just be like, oh, it's another Instagram model,
I know it. I know. I wonder if maybe it'll, I don't know, make him famous. That'd be fun. Who knows?
That's awesome.
Yeah. But
and Warrior Chick Zeus, he says, we love this lady already. She has an amazing interview. Yeah.
That's right, she does, man. Yeah. Shall I explain exactly how it goes there for you, Deb? But also before we do, because I am Canadian, but this is the first time that I have a Canadian where I don't, because Tilsonburg.
Yeah,
not a clue. I don't know where I've never have I been heard of Tilsonburg. So what am I missing here?
Oh my goodness, nothing. Here's the thing, though. This is why you don't know is because you're a West Coast boy. Am I right?
I'm military kid, so I'm a coastal boy. I was on either coast all the time.
And then you spent most of like even like since I started doing comedy, I feel like you were in the UK for a really long time, right?
Yeah, very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you are in East Coast Canada or like a Midwest Canada, like a middle of the country Canada, Tilsonburg, because there was a gig there. There was one gig there that they did once a year. Tilsonburg is Tobacco County. It's one of the major areas in Canada that produces tobacco.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew?
They're like killing people all the time. That's what I'm doing. And now, when I was growing up, it was about 7,000 people when I was there.
Right.
Wow. And now it's a booming metropolis of nearly 15,000.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. It's like it's doubled in your lifetime.
It is on the rise, everybody. But a very small little, so I grew up small town girl, that's
awesome.
How long did you stay there till?
When I graduated high school, I was like, see ya! I left it.
You went.
But I have a twin sister, right? And she kind of she went to school close and then kind of kept going back and stuff. But I was like, the minute I moved out of my mom and dad's house, I have never gone back. I was like,
you're like, sister, Tilsonburg is yours. You take Tilsonburg. I'm taking the rest of the world.
I'm going to Toronto. Exactly. Yeah. So I moved. I moved as fast as I could.
Right.
That's
on.
Awesome.
Yeah, Debs. Well, okay. So awesome. All the way from Tilsonburg to here in Hollywood. We're down the road from each other, but we all have to be separate because of quarantine time. The way we're going to work it, it's simple. Like I told you briefly, Debs, we're concentrating on travel and the arts.
Yeah.
Basically, the first little section here, Francisco and I are going to throw 6 questions at you one at a time, and we're just looking for your quickest answer out of them. Basically, they're all going to be quick answerable questions. We'll let everybody in the chat here too, if they have something to say, like, weirdly enough, nobody's chimed in about Tilsonburg, but if they do hear something that they want to chat about, they can put it in there, and they know by now we'll get to those questions afterwards. And what we're going to do is we answer these quick fire questions, and after your short answers, then we'll circle back and we'll dig deeper into each of them. And we'll just have a laugh. Awesome. Well, I'll throw it over to my boy Francisco, and he'll chuck the first question at you.
All right. Let's do the first question. Okay. Deborah, in your amazing career, have you ever been stranded? Or And have you been stranded, and where have you been stranded?
Yeah, I have been. One time it was no, a couple times, but the first one that jumped out at me is in Winnipeg at the Winnipeg airport. You never want to be stranded in Winnipeg, and you definitely don't want to be stranded at the Winnipeg airport. It was just bad weather. It's just one of those things, and you knew it. Like in my heart, I knew I wasn't getting on the flight. Like there was no way. We all arrived, and we were all kind of like, yeah, there's no way that's happening. And they did. They just did one of those, and every flight canceled. And I think I was only there. Yeah, just that moment. I think I was there for, I want to say something like 16 hours. 16 hours. Oh God. And there was another terrible one too. This was when I was on tour with the Snowed In Boys. This was only a couple years ago. And I was stranded in Kelowna, British Columbia. I was there for 3 days. I was there for 3 days. Could not get out. Nothing.
Right. We got a lot to dig in.
We'll be digging into that one in a second. Here's the second question. This is a theoretical question for you, Deb. A friend of yours, a really good friend of yours, has asked you to go on tour with them in an ideal location. Who is the friend, and where are you going?
Oh, Beth Stelling and London.
Okay, good.
Okay,
nice. All right, now next question. What kind of travel did you do as a kid for family holidays?
Always anywhere we could drive to in our station wagon.
It's a very Canadian theme, I think. A lot of Canadians like, we're getting in the car. And we're going.
We never flew. There's 7 people in my family. If we could drive there under a day, we were going.
Okay.
Yeah, that tracks. It's down to me. Here's mine. Has an airline ever lost your luggage, or lost anything important on a journty? And where were you going? What pops in your mind? Where were you heading?
I was going on my first solo headline tour. First day of the tour, lost my bags for 11 days. 11 days. So for the first 11 days of my tour, I had 2 shirts, 2 pairs of underpants.
That's hilarious.
That's
okay, next question. What's your favorite recreational activity while on the road?
I like to honestly, it's always like the favorite diner or the coffee shop that like you either ask people or you look it up in their little weeklies or whatever it is. I always just want to go to, because I'm obsessed with coffee, so I always want to know the best coffee shop, go in and get something stupid and expensive, and or just the best diner, usually breakfast, right? So that's pretty much, I want to say, oh, I go out and sightsee. No, it's usually just coffee and breakfast.
That always gives you something to talk to them about too. If you hit the real local diner that they all love, then you can go, what? Yeah, what's up with that? And the final question of our speed round before we circle back is, what's the first big move you ever did for the sake of your comedy career? Like moving places.
Big move. It went from Toronto to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. And then also just to remind the people listening and watching this that if you want to ask any questions to Debra, you can write them in the chat and we'll get to them later after we go back.
Yeah, guys, fire away. Big Guns, Mrs. Lady Guns too. If you guys are big fans, man, go ahead, hit her with it. Hit her with a big Q.
Yeah, we have a lot of guns and but these are arms. We're talking about we don't this is not actual guns. These are just
that's right. So this will be a lot of fun. So we as Francisco asked you that first question, of course, is whether or not you've ever been stranded, which I mean you mentioned what was it? You started with the Winnipeg. But then Kelowna you said Kelowna,
that was worse. That was
3 days.
Dude, it was, and this was like recent. This was maybe like in the last 3 years.
Is this because of a snowstorm or something?
Yeah, it was. It was just, it shut down everything because it's like, in British Columbia, it's not really known for snow until you get to a certain area. Then it's all like really big snowboarding area and big skiing area. And this is one of them. And it's small airport. Like you can walk the length of the airport in like 6 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Already it's like we're not doing like heavy jets. I was gonna go from Kelowna. I was gonna go from Kelowna to Vancouver. So that was it. So I was just trying to get to Vancouver. So it was
Uh-huh.
it's a 3-hour flight.
You're like, I'm in the right
Not even-
province.
You know what I mean?
I'm
No,
already in
3-hour
the
drive.
province.
Excuse me. It's like a 90, maybe not even 70-minute
Yeah.
flight and a 3-hour drive. So that always makes it worse. Do you know what I mean? Like if
Where
you
you're
miss
like,
your flight and it's
yeah.
like, yeah, and you're like from LA to New York, you're like, well, you know, but the one where you're just like,
I could have
there.
driven.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It just makes you sick. So that happened, and they canceled everything. And I was touring with 3 other guys, and it was literally one of those things of like, okay, bye, board their planes, just like bye, and then they all leave, and then it just goes. The rest of the flights, we've all been grounded. I was like, so I was alone with it. They all left, and I was just like, oh my god. And I had been talking to a friend of mine, Paul Meyerhog, who I adore, and he had just said to me he was meeting his girl in Vancouver, and he was like, we should drive, and I was just should we? And then we waited too long to make that decision, and because then it was 3 days, and it was so bad that eventually then they shut roads. Like then it was like
no
buses. Because that everyone started to do that round of like of just like, oh god, let's get on a bus, whatever. And then I phoned the guys and I was like, I'm stranded. And luckily in that part of British Columbia, we had a hotel sponsor. So they were like, come over, we'll give Trevor a room. And I was like, thank you. I went, but the thing is, it was one that was under construction. So one of the rooms, they were like, it's under construction, but it'll be fine. No heat. There was
those are always the ones they give to comics. Those are always
they were like, yeah, they're like, well, it's you've got a roof over your head. And I was like, but it was freezing cold.
Yeah, but it's freezing.
It's freezing cold. I stayed warm with my hair dryer.
Oh, really?
Hair drying the bed, blow drying the bed. Get it.
And you did that for 3 days?
I did it for 2 nights, and then on the third day I was able to go.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, it was awful.
That's horrendous. I've had I got the snow. I got stranded in Montreal once in a snowy airport, freezing my ass off all night.
Yeah.
Here in LA, you talk about the patience thing, because I was on a flight to LA and it got redirected for a reason they wouldn't tell us. So we're already shitting ourselves when they go, sorry folks, we're not going to land in Los Angeles. We're redirected. So they only got redirected to Ontario, which for Canadians, any Canadians listening, yes, there is an Ontario here in California as well. And it's only what do you think? It's like an hour away or something? That was a hard call. So we got stranded in Ontario now, and we didn't know what was up. And I got a car, so I recruited 2 people. We got off the plane, and we got a car and did the drive. And then I found out from somebody who waited on the plane that we kind of arrived back in LA at the same time.
At the same time.
If I'd just had the patience to wait another 20 minutes, but it looked like we were going to be there forever.
Taking control, though. Sometimes it's just the taking.
Yeah, you got to make a decision
that makes you feel better.
But sometimes it's like it's where you can't, like you said, like when you have like that little airport where there's nowhere to go. Like, cause I got stuck in Kyrgyzstan. I was doing one of those those military tours.
The troops.
It's not like I didn't get stuck. It's like it was our day to go back, and we get to the airport, and they're like, oh, sorry, no, there's no flight. Like we missed the flight, or there was no flight, and we're like, there's nobody here. Like this is just one flight back to Russia. Like, what do you mean? And of course, it's like it's such a small airport. It's like, well, the next one is 3 days, so we have to wait 3 days on the base again. Back. And that's where I felt like it was like in prison. I was like going to the mess hall and talking to the guy. Like I shaved my head and started like just doing push-ups. I was like, I'm not getting out.
You're gonna go romper stomper on them?
You gave yourself a tattoo with a knife and a pen.
Yeah. And they're like, we're leaving in 3 days. He's like, yeah. We'll see.
Oh God. But that's all. There's nothing worse though. Seeing all your flights cancel, you're just like, oh. Terrible.
You must feel slightly lucky that the hotel came through, like the hotel people, because did that feel stressful at first? You're like, we are sponsored by a hotel chain, because sometimes even when you are sponsored, they don't care.
Oh no, because have you ever had? I've never had to.
Have you slept in an airport? Oh, me neither.
I've never had to sleep overnight in an airport, so that's like already like.
I don't. I would refuse to do it.
I'd be like,
at that point, it's like I'm like this is like okay, I become a homeless person. At
Oh
that point.
yes, that's it. But I think
You
it
can
was
become
a
a homeless
situation
person
where-
waiting for a $500 flight.
Oh God, yeah, please. But I think it was a situation though, like a lot of the people that were waiting for flights were from Kelowna. Do you know what I mean? So they all just went,
Oh, wow.
oh, do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Oh, they just go back
Yeah.
to their yeah.
Okay for
because I
them.
think there's only like 2 hotels in that whole, city.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And what'd you do with those 2 days besides like warming yourself up?
Because it was so cold and there was so much snow. Like watch TV. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just boring. Just the whole
As long
time.
as they give me a food chit, want some free
that's
food. If you
it.
get a
Like,
little,
please, give me a breakfast at least. I did. I got free breakfast. But anyway.
Oh, that's good. Well, at least they came through a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
besides
Yeah,
the
it doesn't make it better,
room.
does it?
No, I was going back to LA too, so it was like Vancouver to LA, and it was just like, get me out of
Yeah.
here, snow.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, man. This is a really fun answer.
All right.
The next question was I asked you about a friend, and you've been asked to go on a tour immediately, and where are you going and stuff. So I don't know Beth Stelling personally. I've met her out at the clubs here and there, but
Yeah.
she seems lovely. So you chose Beth in London. Why did those?
Well, see,
two...
this is it. Like that's one of those ones that you just go say the first name that comes to your head, because I mean that's the unanswerable question. There's so many answers to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
so many incarnations of that. I love Beth. I think Beth and I would travel. See, I think.
Oh wow, yeah.
I think it would travel very well together. I've done a couple festivals with her, and she's very, she also, which will lead to one of the other answers. She's a girl that she likes to have a snack. That one, she does. She loves a baked good. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
She would be down for like, finding a good diner or something.
Yeah.
And I also just think she's so funny. And I just want to go to London because I don't get to perform in London very much,
Mhm.
And
Have
I
you
always-
performed in London?
I have a little, but not a lot, So it's like, and then my brain, immediately goes somewhere too. It's like, even though I know that, like, you go anywhere, there are gonna be expats that are gonna watch us. But I'm like, I don't know, something about London. I'm like, it could be fun because I feel like I know a lot of people there too, but I don't know that I know them, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot now. Just in the years of doing comedy, there's a lot of people in
There's
London I could say hi to.
Fantastic comedy community in London, and
Right?
lots of Canadian, like all of us. There's
And lots of Canadians always
all
everywhere.
around the world, just
We
hiding
crop
in the
up
woodwork.
everywhere. We're always a little
you
gang
do.
of us.
Any comedy hotbed, Los Angeles, Sydney, London.
New
There's
York,
just
I
there's-
do have to say though that I do one of the things that you said, that it's good to have somebody when you're on the road, or you try, like that shares the same food taste food of like whatever you want to eat, because it is like I mean anybody can eat whatever they want, but like like you want to go to the same, like if you want to go to a place, you want to go with somebody that enjoys that it's not just
someone that's, because have you ever been on the road with someone that's all like that?
Yeah.
Okay, this is I take this with a grain of salt. Like what that doesn't want to eat out at restaurants. That's like stay at the hotels, do it there, and then it's like no, we're here. Let's go to
or they just don't eat like, or it's got to be something very specific, and I'm like, we're in the middle of like, you gotta eat fried egg,
whatever their specialty is.
It's right. Yeah, it's right up there with like if a comic doesn't want to hang out afterwards, you take it personally. I don't
seriously.
You're not going to eat with me. You're not going to hang out with me. You don't want to.
We're not going to do anything. I know.
Yeah. At least
like,
have.
I'm not saying 24/7, but like
like lunch, breakfast,
hang out after at least one show together.
Yeah.
And then go do. You know what I mean? Like on a weekend, it's like.
To me that is like I've done the ones I've done, like the one in Lake Tahoe where you kind of stay almost like a week, or even like the ones in Vegas where you stay a whole full week. It's like we don't have to be like 20, but at least hey, let's go have a lunch here one day, we'll have dinner, let's have a drink.
I don't think people, or a lot of people, don't realize that, and I think they think it's so glamorous. No, it gets a little dull being on the road.
Of course it is.
You get a little lonely because
It's
the only thing
very
you're
dull.
waiting for is like 2 hours at night. So the day, sure, you have one day to decompress and hang out in the room and sleep and whatever. But then after that, you're like, you want to hang out? It's just,
And also, like, it's very, like, I don't know how about you, how you relate to it on the road, because for me, like, even though I can do stuff on the road, I still am like I'm working, so I still gotta prepare for my show. So like it's not like, well, let me go hiking for 5 hours. I'm like, and then I'm like dead tired. I can't perform well.
Totally same with me, and I'm glad you said it because I feel like a lot of people. I was feeling a little shy to say that, but my thing is like I am working. Like I'm not
it's
on
working.
vacation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you need to be focused.
And usually like, so let's say you arrive on Thursday, then you have your show on Thursday night. So that's the day you're gonna like, I'm gonna sleep and chill and whatever. Friday, you're almost always doing press at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, you know what I mean? And then so it's like, if you're gonna do anything, it's gonna be Saturday. It's gonna be your last day there. You're gonna do something, maybe, you know, go see a site on Saturday. But then other than that, it's just gonna be like,
and that's it. Yeah, like nothing.
Yeah, and that's exactly because that's the thing. It's like you're not on vacation. You're working.
Yeah.
I could never understand that. They'd be like, I'd be like, that's a 4-hour drive, and I have to work. Like I have to be at 30.
I mean, I think that's the thing you do where like if you're like in your 20s and you have the energy of Red Bull, then like, oh yeah, I can fucking get up and do it.
No. There's a nap.
I gotta take a nap. I gotta shower.
I'm like, if there are 2 shows, I'm taking a nap.
But that's also why. That's also why it's so important.
Meeting the people. That's also like
part of the show.
That's another show. You gotta go like, hey, you know.
You're on until everyone leaves the club.
That's why it's so important to be working with somebody who you can get along with to keep each other entertained through the monotony. And if they don't want to entertain you through the monotony and they just want to go, then it's just like, I don't want to work with you again. I don't know.
It changes.
And it's fine. Like I think it's fine. Like it depends on the days. Like if you're staying for a week, hey, today I'm doing my own thing. But if it's like 2 days, 3 days, it's like hang out. Come on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man.
Word agreement.
That brings us to number 3. Francisco, you want to fire away with that one?
Yeah, the question was, what kind of travel did you do as a kid for family holidays? And you said get in the station wagon, wherever the station wagon. Very vacation, very Chevy Chase.
So exactly.
Yeah.
We always went. Okay, so I grew up in Tillsonburg, like we mentioned, which is southwestern Ontario. So we always went to the place that our main vacation was in Maine. There was a town in Maine called Ogunquit.
In the U.S.
All the way to America.
All the way to America. But it was like, Ogunquit was called Vacation Land. And it was lovely. It was a 13-hour drive from my house to the place that we went. And we went there like probably from the time I was 5, like until I was 18. We went every summer.
Oh, wow.
And like when we were little kids, we used to go and stay for like 6 weeks. We'd take the whole thing. We'd rent like a little house, you know, on the beach, and it was just so we had a regular spot that we went. And
how long did you stay?
Algonquin, Maine, is that Stephen King's? Yeah, is that Stephen King's patch? I
don't know, but you know what? You know what's very close to? It's close to Kennebunk, which is where all the presidents would go. Right. Like that was a big, it was a big presidential area. But but no, when we were little, we would go and stay for 6 weeks, and then as we got older, we'd go for maybe 2 weeks and stuff. Yeah, but we were kids, you know, just pile everyone in the car and just stay for, you know, It was wonderful. I love, like, it's still one of the places that I was like, I would like to go back to because it was it was so great as a kid.
I feel like as a parent, they do like, because the same thing happened to me. We always used to go to my grandmother's beach house. Like that was the thing. And like, I think parents, they stick to one thing. They're like, fuck it. This is the day. And this is what we're doing for the rest of your life until you can.
It was and there was a place that like we went back to like over, and we used to go to the Little Red House because that's where over and over. So it was the same place my dad would rent it year after year after year. And then I remember too, it was like, you know, Maine is lovely, right? But it's like when we were young. So this is like, God, it's in the 70s, honestly. So my dad had the opportunity to buy a location and he did it. And it was something like he could have bought like the Little Red House for wait for it, like $35,000. But he was like, no. Yeah. And then fast forward to when I'm 18, that already, and that's still in the 90s, that house is now $1.3 million.
No.
I mean, I can't even imagine what it is now.
Oh my God.
Now it's 3.3, you know, it's just nuts. But it was
that would have been such a that would have been like let me just buy and forget about it and see if it happens.
Yeah.
Your sleepy little holiday town red house.
Totally, and then it turns into rich people hate
We had a comics house near the Olympic grounds in London. So in the early 2000s, me and a couple of wannabe comedians at that point, we all lived in this house, and the landlord wanted to sell it to us for 90 grand. And then 10 years later, the Olympics are in town, and I went and I saw it was for sale, and it was $900,000. And I was like, "That's the house we stayed in as comedians. That's not worth $1 million."
But it's just that makes you want to cry.
Wow.
$90,000. Oh, the Airbnb alone that you could charge. Oh.
Yeah.
And how many siblings do you have, Deborah?
I have 4. Yeah, 7 people.
4.
We're 7.
So you were 4 in the same car, and are you
5 kids? I have 2 older sisters. I have a twin sister, and then I have a little brother. I was always in the double back. So mom and dad, 3 in the middle, and then me in the back, as we called it, the back. It was me and my brother, always facing the wrong way, getting car sick.
So like in the trunk part, like by the trunk?
Oh yeah, like where everything was short. Sitting in the back staring.
That sounds like a Canadian. That's a Canadian family holiday, I tell you.
And did you guys sing any songs or something like that?
God, yeah, there was a lot of things. There was a lot of things. But of course, this is games and like puzzle books and stuff. Like, but this is 70s and 80s. This is way before anything.
Oh yeah, no, of course, yeah.
Keep yourself entertained. Oh my God, yeah, and not fight in the car.
No, of course.
You used to throw a lot of shoes from the front seat, just just to hit whoever it hit.
Yeah, man. Oh, well, that's cool. That's a big. I mean, we were in Nova Scotia, so like I said, either we moved all the time, but we would always travel by car, and for us, that was the luxury of dipping down into Maine. Like, it's America, everybody. We're in America, but we're barely in America.
East Quebecers too. It was always that's where everyone went because it was a good vacation spot and not that far. 13 hours. You go, oh, that's not bad. Yeah, then try having 5 kids in a car for 13 hours.
No. Yeah, that's why I think as a parent, you're like, we're going to the same place because I'm not doing any new routes. Yeah. And 13 hours with 5 kids. That's it. We're going back to the same place.
100%, man. It's that is great though. I love how there's consistency with Canadian comedians. I think that none of us that were like, oh, our parents, they would fly us to the Poconos. There's none of that. God, no. Every Canadian comedian's like, we crammed in a car.
In that station wagon. Absolutely.
Yeah, you better work on your fucking sense of humor. I'll tell you what. This brings us to the big one. I mean, this has happened to all of us, I'm sure, so I can't wait to hear. But the question was, has an airline ever lost your luggage?
No.
And you were starting a tour. You were starting I don't remember how many days, but you were starting a tour,
days,
and they lost 11-day tour. And they lost your luggage.
This was 2014. And I'll just toot my own horn. I am still, to this day, as of this moment, I'm the only woman comedian that Just for Laughs has done a nationwide tour for in their history.
Wow, that's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But here's the thing. This just shows you, just to remind us that we're not equal, everybody. Don't ever forget it. They decided to tour me across Canada in January.
Oh my. Who's making that plan?
They thought this is going to be great. It'll be the wintertime tour. And it was the year 2014, the year of a polar vortex. I flew and the day I was just like, I'm never going to get out. I'm not ready. We had I think I did 24 cities and 2 of them we couldn't even fly into. We couldn't get into them. We had to cancel because the snow was so bad. So it was just, and I remember too, it was really bad. So much had been canceled. I remember seeing on the news that the Toronto airport, Pearson Airport in Toronto, just became a suitcase graveyard. It was just it was just
really
this, and I was like, one of those is mine. It was just. We started in the East Coast, and so when you realize it's not there, it's just oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm a wise comedian. I had my carry-on, but in my carry-on, I literally only had one other shirt, 2 pairs of undies, a little bit of, but just enough to go one day without your bag. 11 days. 11
So they
days.
lost luggage and they never got it back?
No, I got it back. I eventually got it back. I was on, because the tour was probably God, it was it was just over a month. It might have been like 5.5 weeks. So I did like on day 12, and then I had like, you know, an additional 30 days to be,
Got it.
but it was just like, my God, it was awful. And it was not even just like, but I was in the East Coast too. So I was like in a small town in East Coast Canada. So there wasn't even like, you know, and also too, like I'm a big woman. I can't just go to any store and buy an outfit. I'm like,
You're
"You
not
have a
gonna
plus
come
size
away
store."
with
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I love St.
just-
John's. I love St. John's
Right?
shirt down at the souvenir store.
Do you know what I mean? Like that was so it wasn't even just like I could just skip into somewhere and grab. So I wasn't. So like it was, you know, what I bought was like Woolite. Like I bought like stuff to like wash my only shirt and my two pairs of every single night. So I was like, oh my God. And then trying to find toiletries. Oh God, it was just awful. It was all like,
and you already mentioned
all
the
my
hair
fancy
dryer
stuff.
too.
Right?
Like
And it was like,
yeah, if people listening, if they knew what comedians sometimes have to improvise in our hotel rooms, so we're wringing it out in the sink, we're hanging it up, we're hair drying,
blow drying it. I mean, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're
So
on
it
it.
was just
You're
like,
on it
oh,
5,
God.
Miss Digiovanni.
Well,
You're on it
and
5,
you're
and
like,
you're like,
fuck.
hold on.
And I think that's the typical like things for a comedian. Like it's like you get your, you know, you're gonna be headline first woman for JFL, but then you know the luggage is lost, then you're like cleaning toiletries, you know, in your apartment. It's like
just to keep
you're
you
like
humble.
yeah,
Just everything to keep
always
you
like
humble.
that.
You're like, oh, you're on your first tour, and it's like, yeah, but you're gonna be wearing the same flannel shirt every night. All the things. I've been
No
The
jumping
good
photos,
on
thing is
a
that you're
wonderful time.
moving where the
It
shows
was
like
just like,
where you do like one show and then move to the next city, or where you had to do
yeah,
two
it
shows
was
a
like
night?
it was off. Like it would be. We flew. Like there was a couple days where we like you'd have 2 days in the same town, and then but it was
Okay.
pretty much fly every day.
'Cause-
So that made it hard too, because then it was like, where are they gonna send the bag?
Yeah. I know, but I was gonna say too. At
Oh,
least
yeah.
they didn't see you with the same clothes like the
No.
next day.
I was
Somebody
gonna
comes
say,
in, it's like,
no,
wait a
exactly.
second.
Yeah. She's not
Nobody's
doing well.
They're
Buy
looking
more
at the
merch.
photos.
Yeah. But yeah, let me tell you, the photos from that tour, the first 11 shows, same shit.
Well, you could
just
say that's your
pretending.
uniform. That's your uniform.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
your
That's fair enough.
comic
And
uniform.
I was touring with a dude too, so like he was no help. Like I was like, what kind of moisturizer do you have? And he was like, oh, so there's nothing yet. No help at all.
Wow, that's
Yeah, it
awesome though, to be like the first,
I know.
you know,
It was-
woman
it
in
was great.
JFL.
So
That's great.
It was so
But yeah,
fun.
next time they should just have it in the summer.
Next time I was like May, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like April
yeah,
to May,
spring or
January.
fall. Yeah,
And then after they're like, yeah, we'll never tour anyone in January again. I was like,
thank you.
Yeah. How has it taken you into the 2000s to understand how did you not realize this in like 1971 or whatever?
I was gonna
Hey,
say,
wait a minute,
when
it's
you
kind of
started,
hard.
you know what, Canada, it's snowy.
Yeah, maybe that's not the best.
Maybe not.
But the shows were great. That was
Oh, the
good.
shows were great. It was so fun. That's just
awesome.
the funnest, you know, because it's like it's a very big difference of like, you know, who's on the show, and it's like, oh, some comedian, or like, you know, people
Yeah,
coming
when you
because they want to see you.
Yeah.
Very big difference. Yeah, very big difference.
Yeah, you
I
get the benefit, like not the benefit, but like like right away as soon as you step on stage, they already know you, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I can.
That's it.
I don't
Like
have to,
it's
like-
almost like you know what I mean? You don't have to convince them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's just like it's just if they could all be like that, that's what you would want.
That's the goal. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's the
to be
thing.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for it's like because for me, I mean, I still gotta go. Sometimes sometimes it's not even like the whole crowd is just like a little bit of people that know. They're like,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
still gotta but I gotta convince everybody.
That's you got to
else.
convince like 50% of the crowd. But you see, that's the same thing as like now, because you know anywhere other than Canada, you know, then I have to like, who's this? Some girl, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
In Canada, you're a big
In
big
Canada,
deal.
I can do that. So I'm.
So if
I'm
you
very
walk in the street, like people
Yeah.
go like, "Oh my God, there's Debra," you know, like
you know what? Maybe not as much now, but there was a couple years where I was on a show, a very popular show in Canada, and there was, I'd say,
what
like,
was it called?
like it was called Video on Trial, and it was our
Oh,
like
yeah.
our MTV, and it was talking heads. We just made fun of videos, and it
Okay.
was like, I'm gonna say like from, it was 2010, 11, and 12. Yeah, we had those were
Right.
good years. Those were good years. Those were the
Right.
ones where teenagers would run up to me screaming, "Ah!" It's like, oh,
Nice.
You know what else I was gonna say about the snow? Having to get to gigs like this, because I've done Cape Breton in January and had to drive all the way up there. But that is what makes them great crowds too. Not that they wouldn't be great crowds in great weather, but the fact that they're so excited that you made it through the shit show to entertain them. They're like, this is gonna
but that's always the thing. That's always the thing with small towns. Like when like when you're doing a tour and you go into some of the smaller towns, people's like, why do you go there? I'm like, they're so happy with the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you go to like not just the big ones. It's like you go to some place. It's like it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, because they don't get that much.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of stuff. You know, so
when
there's an event, it's like an event that they don't have to.
Yeah, like they dress up for it. They mark it in their calendar.
Yeah.
A big deal.
They don't have to drive and then get a hotel and whatever when it's their town. Oh.
Yeah,
amazing.
100%, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say hi. A shout out to Samuel. He's saying, "How are you, Samuel?" Carol Casey. She, they gave us a lot of information, and then we got some questions.
Carol's a big typer. She's Carol puts a lot of info up there for all of us. So we got big guns. So guys, and I know see Sam's tried to. We got 2 more questions left that Debra's answered that we're gonna go through, and then we should have a couple minutes to hang out and get your questions answered. I see Big Guns got a question up there. And so any questions for Debra, we will get to those in just a second, guys. So that was what one were we just talking about?
The luggage one. So now the next
4. Was it 4?
What?
That was number 4.
Was that number 4?
That was number 4. Yeah. So number 5 was what's your favorite recreational activity while on the road?
Oh, this is it.
And you mentioned going to restaurants or coffee or anything like that, right?
I'm a very big, I love coffee. I'm addicted to coffee. So it's like, I love that, when you go to, because there's always one little weird place, that they're just like, they make the best. You're like, okay. And that's always where I want to go. So and then you're right. Like, and if there's there's always one spot in the town that they're like, oh, you just got to ask for Jimmy. You're like, I'm going to ask for Jimmy. Like that. It's like, because then you can mention it or so. Because again, it's like, it's not like, you're not doing something too gigantic, you're on tour, whatever. So it's always like a diner is always, the easiest kind of thing to relate back. And you inevitably see someone that goes to the show over the, over the weekend, almost every time. You're having breakfast, like, we saw you yesterday at the bar.
Yeah, 100%. It really strikes a chord with the locals. If you go, I went down to your old coffee shack.
I like it too.
He knows us.
It's fun too to like share it, to to know, like find new things too, because you don't want to go to the same like cheesecake factory that you see everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm like,
it's way better. Like there's one of my favorite places. I'm slightly obsessed with it. And again, it's in West Coast Canada. It's in British Columbia. I can't remember the name of the town. I want to say something like Courtney or something. Very like a small town. But my God. And the coffee it's something like the Coffee Bug or something. And it's just like a little trailer that they've turned into this little coffee shop. And their whole kind of like the little kitsch is that everything is named, everything is X-rated names. So it's like Donkey Punch coffee. And their cups are, it's not small, medium, large, it's bra sizes. So it's B cup, C cup,
that's funny.
double D. And it's, oh my God, the coffee is so good. And the 2 girls, the last years that I've been there, 3 years in a row, I think, I just keep, every time we go in, we're like, hi. It's 2 like these super sexy girls that are always like wearing like bikini tops. And I was like, hi. I'm like, yeah, all right. I know I'm here for the coffee. And the boys
where exactly is this coffee place again? I just wanna,
but I'm telling you, it's the first time I ever had a coffee where it was, I had an American, because I was doing Americano, and it was, they do it where they run the espresso, but then they run hot chili flakes through the espresso, put a squirt of dark chocolate in it. Oh my God. And I'm always just like an Americano, like your basic bitch. But this is it's a little hot.
A little spicy right there.
A little spice, like you're just like, I'm not gonna like it. Then you're like, So good, so good.
So yeah, I was gonna ask like how do you like your coffee? You say Americano.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah, I was
that's
doing Americano with a little cream. Maybe it depends how strong it is. Maybe like a half a sweetener if I need it. But yeah.
so if you go to a country that doesn't understand Americano, what do you get?
Yeah. Then if you go to London, you have a flat white.
A
So you
flat
go
white.
and have, you know
Okay.
what I mean? Which is like they just, it's kind of not a latte. It's like a stronger
Yeah, it's like a little
latte.
cappuccino, stronger, like a.
And of
Is it an
course,
Australian? Isn't that an
yeah, same,
Australian
same,
drink?
same. Australia,
Okay.
Australia has a flat white as well. But like, the Americano is a joke because the Italians made up the Americano because the Americans would come in, North Americans would come in Italy, and they would the espresso was
It's too strong.
so then they would add water to it, and they nicknamed it the Americano. So it's an Americano. Yeah, I know.
So
Right?
it's like a dig.
It's a diss. It's totally a diss.
Yeah,
It really
man.
is. It's like, oh, these idiots.
You know, it's too strong
Americano.
for you, American.
Yeah,
Here's your little water.
Put some water in it, Americano. Yeah. That's my drink. The whiskey drink is fine. What do you do? I bet you're an espresso dude.
I do. Yeah, I like espresso. No,
Yeah.
but sometimes I mean, I like a macchiato. I like a little bit of a little bit of milk or a little bit of, like with an espresso. Like I like coffee, like small coffee, like I can drink.
Yeah.
I don't like drinking lots of coffee. I never.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like an espresso, like you don't walk with an espresso. You drink it.
Yeah,
right
you
there.
drink it, and you're
you
drinking,
drink it,
standing
you
up,
leave.
like talking to
Absolutely.
the other Italians about
and it's supposed
whatever.
it's supposed to be drunk immediately as well. You're not supposed to let an Americano sit. It's got to go right in. Yeah.
When you go to like
What
this Italian, when you go to like an
yeah.
actual Italian coffee shop, like one time I went to one and the guy like got mad at me because I was like, can I have it to go? It was like, yeah, to go. What the, you
there's no
drink
to
it
go.
here. And I was like,
Absolutely.
okay. And then
you don't even sit down. Like you don't even
No.
sit down. You stand there and just shoot it, and you're done.
And in
What about you,
Venezuela,
JJ?
that's
What do
kind of
you-
like that because it's a very Italian culture,
Yeah.
like a lot of Italian people. So like that's how I grew up seeing people drinking coffee. It's like you go like the little like coffee shop and you drink it standing up and you drink it and you go to walk.
Out of a little tiny porcelain cup. It's nice.
So yeah,
Like I
like
can do an espresso, but I would choose to. I want to hold it and walk away with it. A
Right?
big one.
Yeah. I'm nowhere near that level of knowledge. I just do filter coffee in my kitchen, and I don't get coffee generally at coffee shops. I just go. I sometimes say Americano because it's the only easy
But
word.
are you not a coffee drinker though? Are you not like a big coffee drinker?
I drink. I don't consider myself a big coffee drinker, but I drink filter coffee here a lot in my little coffee machine that I've owned for like a year.
Like what do you
or
mean?
like just
like a
normal,
coffee maker.
just coffee. Yeah, just a coffee maker.
When since the quarantine started, I was like, okay, because we lost my little coffee shop around the street. It didn't make it, so I was like, all right, we're doing coffee at home. What do we do? So I did like a little poll, online. I was like, what's your favorite coffee at home coffee maker? And it resounding, the winner was Chemex, which is that clear. It's like a clear glass, and it's got like the filter up to, but it's a pour over situation. So it's got a big triangle up, and then the bowl at the bottom, and then it's got its specific filters, and then you do with a slow pour, and it's a pour over. Probably like to make a pot of coffee rather than just like a drip. You have to kind of stand there and like do it, and it takes like 8 or 9 minutes. But goddamn, the coffee's
it's good. All right,
fantastic.
I do that. I have the Greca, like it's a little thing that
yes, That's what
that's more for I like that. That's what I drink because it's like a in between espresso because you can do like still like a lot of coffee, but it's a little.
He calls it a mocha. He calls it a mocha because my boyfriend is Italian and that's on the stove. And I remember that was like what my father used to do, where it percolates on the stove. And it's this old thing. He travels with it.
Yeah. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's
and
strong
I have
coffee, but it's not an espresso.
It's not an espresso. Yes,
you
it's
get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, strong.
Wow.
Yeah, I like.
You guys are way.
I know.
Way out of my coffee league. Way out of my coffee league.
What did you think about the Keurig things? The Keurig things. I'm not a big fan of those.
I have to tell you, for like they're not bad though. For basic bitch coffee, they're not bad. Like in a pinch, like if you go to a hotel and they have a Keurig, I'm way happier than
Oh no, that's great.
If have you seen those? Like, fantastic. Yeah.
Have you had the coffee from the hotels where like it's really like I had it once and I'm like I spit it out. I'm like, what is this? Like it was like dirty water. Yeah.
If only I could tell the
Yes.
difference. I tell you what, once because I get the basic bitch, store brand coffee from Ralph's. That's what I use in my machine, in my rookie, and I did have to. They didn't have store brand left. I had to buy Starbucks brand, the package, and I felt a bit zippy afterwards. I came back and I made some of the Starbucks, and I was like, oh right, maybe there is a difference. Maybe there's a difference in coffees. It's not just dark hot water. So
you're all petsed up. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm slowly starting to learn the difference.
That's cute. That's very cute.
I was just very anti. I think I just never enjoyed the coffee cafe culture when somebody's like needs that $4 Starbucks in the morning or whatever. And
yeah.
This is going back to dating somebody too, and you have to wait in their car, and you're like, I have to wait for you to get a fucking coffee.
Yeah,
we could make it at home.
Yeah, Debra's going like, yeah, you better wait.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait, man. That's the way it is.
No, I think it's like anything. It's like wine or like beer. Like there's so many different kinds, and once you get a taste and you understand the taste,
that's the thing.
And then you go like, oh wow, then you can literally see the difference from some crappy coffee and real good coffee.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't do anything else fancy. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not fancy in any other way. The only thing that I'm fancy about is coffee. So
your coffee, yeah.
I'll let you
need to have one thing. I think everybody should have one thing that's like, no, I need to have. I'm not gonna settle for crappy. I need to have something good.
Yeah. No, that tracks. I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn about coffee because there's nothing wrong with knowing what you're consuming when you're on the road, but it makes sense to upgrade,
especially on the road. Like it's like we need those little things to make us feel like okay, like
you feel at home,
good
like
at
you feel
home.
like, I'm okay. Yeah.
It's like a pacifier.
Totally. Coffee flavor.
And then Deb, our final question was very, very straightforward. Of course, we were asking what your first big move was. Your first, because I assumed your first big move was going to be from Tilsonburg to Toronto. But was that an easier move?
That was just college. Yeah, that was.
Oh right. Of course.
Yeah.
So that was just natural because that's the big city, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I didn't start comedy until I was 27. So like I moved to Toronto when I was 19. It was just la for. Went to art school. I went to art school.
Did you ever wanted to do comedy before, or it was like because I also started like around that same age too. I never.
No, and it wasn't like it never was like it never. Yeah, it just didn't cross my mind. Also too, it's like I didn't watch comedy. Like I didn't watch stand-up comedy as a teenager or my 20s because like all the people that like I collected comedy albums. Like not me. Like honestly, I think the first time I saw,
the same way.
I went to go see comedy. I'm not kidding. The first time I went to go see comedy live, stand-up comedy live, was like 2 weeks before I was going to perform at that spot. Like that was. I never watched. I mean, eventually, eventually I watched some, Robin Williams and whatever, their specials and stuff, but I never did. And then when I knew, like I went to art school, and then it was sort of like, I don't know, like I was never a class clown.
What was your job at that point? Because if you started at like 27, you were already in Toronto.
I was a receptionist.
Okay, a receptionist at
an advertising agency. I worked at an advertising agency.
You're a madman.
A lot of fun. They were fun. It was always a good time because they were super casual. But like it didn't strike me to do comedy until I wasn't even like I would make my friends laugh and stuff, but I wasn't really. I don't think anyone even, or I didn't even know that I was actually funny until I moved out of my mom and dad's house. Do you know what I mean? That it was like moved to Toronto. I was like, all right, who are we? And then it turned out I was like, oh, I'm very funny. And and then it was kind of started. And like friends used to go and say to me, "Have you ever thought of performing?" And I was like, no. And it didn't. The seed was planted probably when I was like 21 or 22. That I was just like, oh, interesting. But I still was just like scared and didn't bother. Then I got a job at a TV station on a whim, and then I started to do tours. Yeah. Then part of the job was I did tours for the TV station. Like, so I would take like the 7th grade class around and be like, "This is the newsroom," and like tell them. But then everyone hated it, and I loved it. And then I became known
like performing.
I was performing. So seriously, my first performance was in front of like, 27, you're like 10-year-olds. Just
Yeah.
but then that started to happen, and then the TV station at the time
Lucky
was
for
like,
that job, man.
right? Tell me, fluke, like that was like supposed to happen, because
That's
then the TV
life telling you
station,
that you needed to do.
totally. They were also like, they were really good about like letting people, what do you want to learn, kind of thing. And then it was like, oh, the girl at the front desk is funny. And like, oh yeah. And so then I used to sub when someone would call in, because I was the music network was Much Music in Canada.
Wow.
And so then there's like in the archives from like 1994. I'm all over
Yeah.
that. Hello, Debra! Just,
Wow.
whatever. Yeah.
Nice.
And
So
then
then,
that show
like,
that I worked on 10 years later, because I worked at that network.
wow.
When they started the show, they were like, doesn't Debra do comedy? And so then they just were like, do you want to do this show? And I was like, yeah, everyone else had to audition, and I didn't. So it was all very,
Oh, wow. Serendipity.
yeah, serendipitous, exactly.
But it's like,
Kismet, man. Yeah.
and this is like, so you were like, so at 27, that's when you actually.
That's for the first time I got on stage. Like I
and-
went to
but
like
it-
an
that-
open mic.
and that was in Toronto.
Yeah.
And you never like did anything
I
theatrically, like.
took a couple. No, not through high school, not through college. I took when I was thinking of wanting to perform, I took 2 years of improv classes,
I'm
and
the
I
same
liked
way.
it. I liked it, but it was like I used to be like, oh, it'd be so much better if it was just me. Like I would have
Mhm.
that. You know, I'd be like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is great, but you're holding me back. And it was just, it's like, and I remember asking my teacher, it's like, I really want to do stand up, and he said to me, "Don't. It's terrible." And then I was like, oh, okay. And then years later, see him, and he's like,
Yeah.
"You made the right choice." I'm like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
You-
But that's
like,
how I
you-
got it.
You were
Right.
going, yes, and I'm better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. Terrible for you, baby.
For you, baby.
But
yeah,
that
yeah.
exactly happened to me. I mean, it's funny because like the same thing happened to me. I never took any theatrical and stuff. When
No.
a lot of people started telling me I'm funny and stuff like that, and then I took an improv class,
Yeah.
and same thing. I felt that I was good at it, but I did like it. I did wanted to do it. That's when I moved to LA to pursue improv. But then I realized that
No,
I
better
couldn't
by
find that
yourself.
people were. Yeah, my thing was like I didn't find people that were on the same page, and then I was like,
yeah.
wait, I can do open mics for free, and I don't have to, and it's just me.
Yeah.
And then that's when I first
Yeah.
my move. So you said you moved to LA. And why was that your like with your career move? Like you're from Toronto to
Yeah.
LA?
Yeah, I went
Okay.
Toronto to LA, so I moved in like my 14th year of comedy. Do you know? So
Oh,
that was
wow.
like I'm
So you were like
I'm
already
established
established.
headliner. Oh yeah. Like this is 2021 is my 21st year of comedy.
Oh
Right.
wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like
So-
you were established, and you were like, is it the point that you got like, well, I did everything that I could have done here. I
Yeah,
need to.
that was literally it. Like in Canada, and God bless you, Canada. Very good to me. Super grateful to Canada. But there really is, there is a bit of a it stops after a while. Do you know?
Mhm.
That's only the one. I mean, it produces such good comedians. It produces such good television. No, that's not true. It has started recently producing good television. It wasn't always, but now it's like, no, serious. Like now, Schitt's Creek
Yeah.
and Letterkenny,
Schitt's Creek,
like, now
yeah.
it's like Kids in the Hall, like and stuff like that. That's really, changing it, and
Yeah.
good music and what. But it stops at a certain point. It just
Yeah.
does. Like there was, God, it's like. I think there's
Yeah,
only
well,
like
we
one
don't
network that
have.
actually makes things now. Do you know?
Yeah.
That actually
yeah,
creates content.
Yeah, it's harder to find our big audience, isn't it? That big, like the ceiling, like you're saying, the ceiling's
Yeah,
lower.
yeah.
I mean,
Canada
I
grows
found
up
that-
on American television. That's the thing. Because it's like most people watch them. Very few people are watching only Canadian content, So
Yeah.
so it was like it got to that. I'm like, okay, bye.
And did
No,
you
well,
move
yeah.
with a specific? You had a specific thing that you were here, or you were like, no, I'm just gonna move and like start from
literally.
scratch.
Yeah, I'd had a working visa, like a performance visa when I did Last Comic Standing in 07. So I got a visa and I just kept it. I was like, okay. So then I'd get little things. I did the NACA. I did some colleges, for a couple of years, but then it was really, I moved, like I came in like 13, got rented an apartment, got myself established, went home, got rid of my old apartment, packed everything up, and then moved here. Was like really settled in January 2014.
right.
And what's that? Did you feel like you had to like I mean, obviously you didn't have to start from scratch because you've been doing it. But like, how was the
But
process
yeah,
of?
like it did
But
that, like
yeah,
it did,
right.
like it wasn't like if it's the letter, I wasn't the first rung of the ladder, but I was only like rung 3. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a
Mm-hmm.
little, it was definitely a little easier, but it wasn't, because I moved at the time with only a couple friends were here, and one of them, who I'll tell you after, I know you both know him. He like even like he admitted he was like, I thought this was going to be way easier, and I was like, oh yeah, no,
Mm.
no, no,
All
because it's
right.
like it was a little like the credits don't transfer. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah,
it's starting over. I mean, I've
it's
been here
starting over for sure,
I've
for
been
sure.
here for 5
Yeah.
years too. So I jumped late as well. Of course,
Yeah.
my career was in Britain, and I
Yeah.
jumped late. I came here, and I thought too. Like I thought, oh,
Yeah,
I do
got it.
TV. I do
Got it.
TV in Britain. You guys will just put me on TV, and then we'll
Right?
off we go. And then you get here, and you're like, oh right,
Oh, no.
connections mean a lot, don't we? I have to start
Yeah.
over again. You want to see what my act is like? Nobody's asked me to see what my act
Oh, I
is
mean,
like.
oh my god! When I first got here and like trying to get spots at like, and we're not talking like hot
Yeah.
tub. Do you know what I mean? Like we're talking
Yeah,
like
yeah.
shows that don't exist anymore, like shitty little
Yeah.
where you'd go, there'd be like
Yeah,
9
yeah.
people there, and they'd be like, "Can I get some tape?" And I'd be like, "What special would you like?" Do you know what I mean? It was like, and I would go and say, "Do you have Netflix? Because my
Yeah,
special,
yeah.
my special there." That
Yeah.
literally was that. It was just like, oh fuck.
When
know?
you say tape, should I send you a
Yeah.
VHS? That's how my career goes back to VHS. So what do you want?
Literally. So that, but it was quicker. I mean,
It
was
is quicker
quick,
because you're already
much
good.
quicker.
You know what
Yeah,
you're doing. It's like
yeah. But
it's
that's
more
it.
about like
Yeah.
it's like like
That's the thing that's the thing with Canadians. I think is Canadians stay in Canada for longer, and then when they move here, they're honed. So when
Yeah,
everyone's like, "What the fuck is up with Canada?" I'm like, it's because we've all been doing comedy for 12, 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
Then we move here, and people are like, damn, very few people move to LA from Canada in their 3rd year. Do you know?
Yeah.
You can't get a visa in your 3rd year. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Exactly.
You don't
It
get it.
takes
They
us-
don't let you move. Yeah.
It takes us 12 years to build up the credits to be allowed.
You've got to have all those
Yeah.
credits to be able to move. So it's that.
Yeah.
I wish you could have moved sooner. I'm like, you better marry an American because you're just no you're getting here.
What's really funny is that you basically summed it up like you have to have all those credits in order to get to LA and be treated like you have no credit.
Like you're an amateur. You know?
Yeah, that is.
I haven't had a day job since 2006. You know what I mean? Like
That's great.
I've been paid by comedy since 2006, and you get here and you're like, open mics, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
go, you know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I started like just in LA, so like I never had that whole. I moved because I could have stayed in DC and like do the same thing that you guys did in Canada, but to me, it was more of like I need to move away from this life to
absolutely.
like start zero because I can't like if I would have stayed in DC, I don't think I would have kept doing comedy. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, you make one move,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, that's nice. That's lucky, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
but
Deb, if you have a couple extra minutes, Deb, like that brings us to the end of our questions, which were awesome. That was awesome as always. We knew you'd be awesome, and we were wondering, would you mind hanging out a couple minutes, maybe answer some of these questions?
Answer questions.
I'm not sure. Producer Brian's waiting in the wings, but I think I understand. I should have been doing this all along.
There's a question right there.
I just did that.
Oh, okay.
Just to let you know, I could have been doing it all along, but I wasn't thinking to do it. So why don't let's start with My Gun Is Huge, who's been here since the start. So here's a question from him, which is, do you think LA has more opportunities than Toronto?
Oh, it's so many more. See, here's the thing. It's like, if starting in Toronto was different because I had more opportunity to get on stage. So there was I had more stage time available to me in Toronto. Do you know?
Repetition.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Like, it was just, not that there was as many shows, but there was just less comics. So I had way more opportunity for that. And then but moving here, it's like there's just more opportunities in every other way. In just every other way. And all the writing, production, acting, I mean, everything. So, but to like, if a comic was starting out and you had the opportunity, I'd be like, yeah, start out in Toronto. because in 3 years you'll get more stage time in Toronto than you would in 7 years in Los Angeles. So
Yeah,
that's
and also
the
you
whole
need
big
the
difference in
you need to
opportunity.
be, like you say, you need to be polished first to
Yes,
to
to
actually
be able to get stage time.
Yeah.
and to use those opportunities that you get, because
Yeah,
if you're not,
yeah.
you can get those opportunities in LA, but if you're not like polished, it's like gonna be like, all right,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you, bye.
exactly. Then it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, but no, but
Yeah,
hands down in
entirely.
terms of opportunity, though. Sorry, Canada, we love you, but yeah.
Yeah, I always tell them to go, like, same thing in Britain. I'm like, go to Manchester or whatever, get the stage
Mm-hmm.
time. But now, having said what we've just shared with each other, I would also encourage them not to overweight, not to wait too long.
Don't stay too long. Don't stay
like-
too long.
Like when you do feel that you're good and you feel that you can start over, because it's the starting over again. You don't
And
realize
everybody
this,
is different too.
but all the walking around going, I've been going for 4 years now. Well, come to LA and you'll feel like you've been going for 4 minutes.
Yeah,
And I do think too, like if you're gonna move, like you should do it like when you're still semi-young.
Oh,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Because you need that energy to like right now. I don't know if I could do what I did back when
I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. That would be the thing. It's like, even if, I mean, again, it's different because I did start at 27, so it's like, but but like if you start comedy at 20, move somewhere when you're 30, 31.
You still get that energy to like do the open mics.
A midnight set, you're like, sure. Me, I'm like, midnight.
Yeah. That's the fatigue thing, isn't it? It's the, you want me to wait till when?
No.
Guess what, Debs? We got you on at 12:45.
No.
For three people,
I'm going to bed. I'm going home to bed.
No way. No. The only way I could do a 12 o'clock set is if I've already done an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Then I could do a 12.
I got that adrenaline.
12, I'm like, oh, it's never happening. It's never happening. There's no way.
Yeah, the worst is like you only have that one spot. It's like at 12:45. I'm like, oh fuck, and then I'm like, I fall asleep.
Take a nap and set an alarm and Totally.
This next question is by the same guy. But it still stood out to me. So, Big Gun, you get 2 questions answered because I like your questions are crisp and to the point, man. And so,
fun.
since living in LA, have you been starstruck by anybody, Deb?
That you met somebody?
Yeah. And it's funny too because it's not even comedy, which is so strange because I mean, although I don't even know if I've met sort of like real hero type, like when I was backstage with Sarah Silverman, that was kind of fun. It's just like, oh, Sarah Silverman. But the real one that got me was where I used to live. There's a little diner and Henry Rollins goes there all the time. And I'm a Henry Rollins fan. But here's the thing, not Black Flag, not anything. One of the reasons that I was just like comedy, I saw Henry Rollins speak. He was doing
that tour many years ago, 15 years ago.
Many years, and he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. He was.
Was it the one? Was he in a bathtub or something in that one?
This was like, I'm talking. This might have been like 1991. So when you think of performing, it's like that little bit. I was like, oh, and then years later, but it was maybe like 91 or 92, and it was just. He's supposed to talk for an hour and a half, and I think he spoke for like 4 hours. And it was like, it was funny, and it was heart wrenching. He was brilliant, and it was like one of those shows that you leave like, oh, a little changed. And I wanted to tell him, so it was just like, excuse me, Mr. Rollins. And he was awesome and great, but I was really just like, I was.
Yeah, that's a good call because I saw him about 16 years ago, and when I saw him, I was blown away that he could. Because I mean, you see a lot of musicians or try to cross over. I'll be a comedian now.
It does not work,
and it doesn't work. But some of them have some skills to at least land a few lines. But he did a full, to just have a full narrative spoken word show. When I saw him in the early days of my comedy, and I was just blown away by it. It was very impressive. And a lot of you love the gossip too. A lot of the behind the scenes. He's talking about outtakes from movies and stuff like that. So,
he told a story about how he was in a car accident in like Sweden or something. So he's at a hospital. He can't speak to anybody, and he's been in the hospital. But he broke. I think he broke both of his arms or something. So the whole message was he hadn't been able to jerk off in like 16 days. It was one of those stories that was so.
That's hilarious.
Funny. It was just, we were just screaming. It was so funny.
That's great. That's a
Yeah.
good question. Good.
That's a
Okay,
good one.
Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got, so I'm trolling through the Henry Rollins has a great special. It's great. There we go. So the Big Guns is replying to that one. Great special. I see one. I see another question here. I've been sorry if I've missed anybody's questions if they're lost in the things, but I don't know. There's a system here. When I had to search for this one as well. But let's go. Hey there, Francisco. Got a question for Debra. Does she have a dream comedy festival that she wants to perform at?
When everything starts again.
When festivals are
I don't know, maybe like the New York Comedy Festival.
New York Comedy.
Yeah, I'd like to be a part of that one someday because that really only seems it's only ever, so I'd love to be a part of that one. I mean, I want to say Edinburgh, but I gotta tell you, I'm a little intimidated by Edinburgh. Like, I feel like that one's terrifying.
I think you do great. I mean, I've never been there, but I think you'd be great.
I hope so. But it's just, it feels like a lot because you gotta do, because you've done it.
Oh yeah, I've done it. I've done it loads. I've done it. Yeah, I've done.
But it's hard though. It's a lot. Like you're there for a month, and you got to do your whole everything yourself, and you're
there for a month. You don't have to do everything yourself, but if you're gonna get a producer and stuff, you should be careful. You should be wary of who's there to pinch. Who's there to charge you, because there's been times where I've gotten bills at the end of the Edinburgh Festival, and I'm like, no, you didn't say $4,000 for lighting at the start of the festival. I'm not paying $4,000. There was one time I had to go and find. So I said $4,000 there, but the number was $2,000 for lighting, and I had to go and find the other performers in my venue, and I found out that they were each getting charged as well. And so the total of 8 performers, each getting charged $2,000 each, and it came to like $16,000. And then I went and found out how much the lights were, and I was like, motherfucker. So you got to be careful. So because it was like $2,000 total, and he charged everybody these individual. So you always have to be careful who you're in bed with at the Edinburgh Festival, but you will love it. The time flies. If you get the venue you love, and if you're working with people that you love, then it's just the best month.
It can be, yeah.
And you get choices
are
too.
Always fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime you don't have to travel, anytime you don't have to catch a plane.
Yeah.
And you can hang out at the
and
bar.
Stick around for a month. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, get to know people.
Yeah.
We have this other question here from Warrior Chick Susie. I mean, I can't, if you want to look at it, but I'll just read it to you.
I'll look for Susie while you read.
Is there anything you consider lucky, sentimental, that you have to take with you when you tour?
There it is.
That's a nice question.
Oops. Yeah, that's a great question, Susie.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't really have anything that's, I would say, lucky, but I definitely have sentimental. Like I have a blanket that I was given when I was born by my grandmother, and I bring that with me wherever I go.
You bring it on the road.
Yeah, because it's just, and that was, by the way, when I lost my bag, that was in my carry-on. Hello. So, but that's it, and then that's just one of those little. That's a little sentimental, just like a little thing.
Yeah.
I travel with whenever I go somewhere. So, I don't. Maybe I mean, is it lucky? Maybe, but it's definitely something that
it makes you feel like at home. Or
I don't think I've slept without it in my entire life. Like
not. So you sleep with it.
Life. Yeah, it's on my bed. You know what I mean? It's just there somewhere. You know what I mean? So hotels.
Oh, you don't like put it, or you just like. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I put it, baby. Sometimes I tuck it in. Sometimes I tuck it, put it on my head.
Depends on how you feel. Depends on what you need.
Depends on what we're doing. But yeah. That's one of those ones. But that is, it's like, there's always been a moment where boyfriends where I've always had that moment where I'm like.
That's what I was gonna say. They're like, it's like, so this is gonna be between us. These are my blanket.
It's just the blanket. Yeah. So, but yeah, my whole life.
Yeah. No, that's a good. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool to have some. I mean, I think it's always cool to have something to bring.
Something sentimental. Yeah.
And my thing is like, well, I always go to like, well, if I get stranded like in an island or something, at least I can use this to don't go crazy or something. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. It's nice to have.
It's my Wilson. It's my Wilson.
Yes, the Wilson. Totally.
Actually, not Wilson. Is a box thing that I forget what it was.
No, Wilson was the volleyball.
Yeah, but he made it up. He made it. Like he didn't bring it with him. he just
Oh no, that
That's
one,
right.
that one.
It was
showed
yeah,
up
it was
on
part
shore.
part of the crash. Yeah.
And he eventually lost it. I would never lose my blanket.
yeah.
There you go.
Swim after it. I'd swim after it.
Right.
I think that was the last question, right? Or I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
we have
mean,
another
yeah,
question.
that's been. I think, yeah, I mean, I think that is the last question. I mean, it was a great question. Anyway, I think that's a
That was a
great,
good one. Yeah, it's a nice one. to end
great
up.
one to leave it on. You know, and
Yeah.
you know, it's such a pleasure. We always, you know, this is the early days of our podcast now, but we've been closing with one final question to our guests. So before we ask you the final question, though, we just want to say thanks very much, Debs. It's
Oh, yeah,
you
super
know,
fun. This was
you're-
nice. Nice
you're
to see you.
yeah, top of
And-
our list, and we're so happy.
And let
you
us
took
know.
on.
Can you please let everybody know where they can reach you? They can find you. They
Yeah.
can, you know.
That I've had. That's my Instagram handle there, and that's
Okay.
probably the best place. I'm a tweeter. My full name on Twitter, Debra Digiovanni. But you know, just recently, like what was it? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we did last year in the summer epics. I did one of those unprotected
Oh,
sets, and they
All
just
right.
came out, yeah, it just came out like a week ago, 2 weeks ago on the Friday, and it's
nice.
just a really nice little set. You know, it's like a little quickie, 20 minutes, but they do some interviews. So I mean, epics is one of those ones that like you can sign up and get it for a week. Do you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like yeah, it's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
things where you can just sign up for a free week. So sign up and get a free week because there's some really good stand up on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there
Well,
you
check
go.
that out.
If you're craving stand up, just
Yeah.
sign it up for the week.
Get it for free. Just sign up for a week, watch a couple, and then get out of there.
Yeah,
That's
everybody. I mean, that's the thing. Just like I think with people that have done Showtime specials too, it's like yeah, just sign up for a week,
Just sign up
watch
for a
it,
week,
and
watch it, then you're done. See you later, suckers. That's it.
I know.
Just
I
get
always,
the
I
numbers
always
out.
have
I
to
do, are you
delete
kidding?
them. I always have to delete them that night as well. But I'm really happy if
Oh,
I
yeah.
delete them that night when it's the honorable ones, and
Yes.
you delete them that night, and it still says, "But you're good
Yeah,
for another 2
I
weeks."
think
So
exactly.
I
And if
like
not,
you
and you're like,
people.
fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have
God,
canceled it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, Deb. So our final
you.
question is really straightforward to leave everybody on, which is simple. What is a favorite piece of travel advice that you have hidden in the back of your mind, or anything that you want to tell people? Like, you know,
Always,
like
my favorite piece of travel advice is always dress on a flight like your plane's going to go down. Always be ready.
like your
always be
baggage is going to be
dressed up.
lost.
Like your luggage is going to be lost and you're going to be stranded on an island. I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like always have socks, sneakers, you know what I mean? Like comfortable clothes, a good bra, like all of that. I see women in high heels and I'm like,
yeah, like those guys like
This
one
was
going
bad,
in
you're in trouble.
flip
You know what I
flops, like guys
Yeah.
in flip
Oh,
flops. Like,
oh,
you're dying
dumb.
first. The
That
plane
you
goes
sure
down.
are. You sure
You're
are.
dying
And
first.
I'm not going to try and save you because guess what?
Yeah.
But you made your choice. But yeah, that's me always on a flight. I'm sorry.
That's
you don't have
that
you
is
don't have
fantastic.
to-
You know what
doesn't
else?
have to be
That's also
pajamas,
great
it's
advice.
comfortable.
That's also great advice because you can get an upgrade too if you dress better. You've just tipped somebody onto not only are you looking good,
Yeah.
but you'll
You're
be
also upgrade.
you'll also be eligible for an upgrade. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I always dress like Leo DiCaprio on Titanic. You know, you never know. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Suspended. Oh god.
could be my big break.
You don't know.
Getting on this plane.
and I'm like, hey, sorry, Rose, I'm staying on this piece of bread.
That's it. I love it.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you. Thanks very much, Debs.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank
That
you
was
very much
awesome.
for joining us, and everybody, please follow and watch Debra on Epics, her 20-minute special, and please follow her. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, guys. Good to see you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.